we are a convention for fans from all backgrounds, any fans of science fiction, fantasy, horror, gaming, art, and generally just anything geeky at all. That's been one of the fun parts, is expanding outside of like traditional fandom, and because we realize that like people have different kind of stuff they nerd out about, right? It could be history or science or fountain pens, whatever it is. The common thread is that there's a strong interest in something that you want to share with people. So that's the point of conventions in my book, but also Multiverse in particular, is let everybody get together in an environment where everybody feels welcomed and included, like genuinely included. And it happens every October, third weekend of every October. This year it's October 20th through 22nd in Atlanta, which I figure most people know. At the West in Atlanta, Perimeter North, all the stuff's at multiversecon.org.
For this episode, we welcome Multimind, who resides in her hometown of Baltimore City, Maryland. She tries to find time for her countless hobbies, from 3D printing to bookbinding to virtual reality. She writes books that are fairly black, usually queer, and very much embedded in the world of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Her work has also appeared on the Nightlight podcasts. Then we welcome Ellie Rain, Writer's Digest award-winning fantasy author, who is a voracious bookworm when it comes to epic adventures, detailed world-building, and thrilling battles. Fueled by coffee bean concoctions brewed by the finest caffeine alchemists in the kingdom of Atlanta, Georgia, her high fantasy series, The Necrotheme Chronicles, has won first place in fantasy for Writer's Digest, a silver medal for Reader's Favorite International Book Awards, and additional awards from Reader's Favorite and the Book Excellent Awards. Then, we take a look back at one of our favorite parts of Multiverse, the uniqueness of the meat room. So, grab yourself a cocktail, sit back, relax, join the conversation as we turn the spotlight on the Multiverse Convention with your host, Joe Compton. Hey everybody, we're back, and it's awesome to have you here. Welcome to our wonderful show as we spotlight the Multiverse Convention and our guests tonight, and I'm real excited about it. And we were a little panicked behind the scenes, but looks like we've got everything under control. You can hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
All right, awesome. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here and joining us tonight. And I did that little intro, but I always love to give the guests an opportunity to expand upon it if they'd like, and talk a little bit about themselves. So please, the floor is yours.
Sure. And sorry that my camera looks absolutely awful. I usually don't film at night. And being
No
a writer,
problem.
you don't have the same setup as, say, a streamer does. But pretty much, yes. You just wanted me to do my intro or whatever.
Sure, yeah, whatever you'd like.
Basically, I'm Multimind, as you guys saw for the intro. I tend to write books that are fairly diverse. And my most recent upcoming book is The Glass Man, coming out in September, on September 2023.
Nice. We've got a nice crowd coming in. AF Stewart is here. Vanessa's here. Jesse Adams is here. It's nice to see you all. Welcome. And yeah, I mean, so you have this new book coming out very soon, or just came out. Sorry, excuse me, just came out.
Well, no, it's coming out. It is coming out in September, so
Okay,
it is
awesome.
not yet available.
Is this your first multiverse?
It is my first multiverse.
Nice. So, and I'm guessing you've done events before and done signings.
This is my second in-person event. This is my second in-person event. Usually I try to just keep things being digital and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're a big streamer.
Oh no, I'm not into streaming at all. I write and stay off the internet, basically. As a writer, I pretty much just do that. I hardly use my social media. I don't stream. That's why my layout doesn't look very bright and stuff. But pretty much, yeah, I don't do streaming. I don't really do much of anything except for write. I even write with a fountain pen. So that's
which I
don't really do much of anything.
Yeah, I found that really awesome. I love the little color coding you were doing on. I was on your
That
Facebook
is
page.
swatching, and I just have because I have a lot of different ink bottles. So pretty much it lets me be able to choose between what colors I want to pick for my creativity as fast as possible.
Nice, awesome. Well, I mean, I think you're going to enjoy the multiverse experience for sure. It's we're just a wonderful family to be a part of, and we're happy to have you be a part of that. So it's going to be awesome to experience that. Is there anything you're really looking forward to in terms of like panels or anything like that? I know you probably filled out the questionnaire
Quite a
already.
few panels I signed up for,
Nice.
and pretty much it is. I don't fully remember which panels I signed up for, and they haven't gotten me my panelist yet.
Well, it's a long
So
form. It was a long form.
it was a very long form. So I don't fully know exactly what I'll be on, but I do hope that I look forward to it quite well because I don't fully remember what I picked because I picked so many.
Is there one that stood out to you though that you were like, "Oh, I hope I really get on that one."
The one that I can think of right now is the professionalism one.
Nice. Sorry, not a long form. We prefer thorough. I apologize.
It was a long, thorough form.
It was, yes. And Vanessa says she's a fountain pen nerd. She would just order some new ink because mine is somewhere and it's not here. All right. Warns everyone the form is long. Yes, she does.
That
Yes.
they do warn, and I do appreciate it because if it was only like three things, then it'd be a concern.
So let's talk a little bit about your writing then. Let's get into you and everything you're doing. Uh, you're a speculative fiction writer for the most part. You cross over science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And you write from a POC perspective and about and LGBTQ issues as well. And so the diverse nature of your writing was that a personal conscious choice that you were hoping to because you publish yourself.
Not really.
No.
For me, it's what really just kind of comes out. It's about as much of a conscientious choice as pretty much of what like Neil Gaiman writes in Good Omens. He doesn't sit here and go, "Oh, I should have like a queer character and then this character and that." He probably should not have written a Nazi voice. It was not that great reading as a black person, but definitely, it's just that it's what I am good at. It's just that it's what I'm good at. It's what the stories for me best come out as and things of that nature. I honestly I don't sit here and really plan too hard about
Mhm.
what the works will say or do and stuff. If somebody wants a queer character, that's fine. I have works that don't have any. As far as they don't have any queer characters such as kinetics. Any queer characters such as kinetics, but all of them will have like a person of color of some sort and stuff because one is something that's not commonly reflected, and two, because that's what I am. I'm a black person, but also I'm around a lot of different people of different backgrounds, and I don't get to see their stories told all the time. But I feel like the random like white person in space and back in time and be in future times and whatever. It's been done a lot. Neil, it's going to continually get done to death. So it's boring. I don't like writing boring, but I basically like to write entertaining. But also, I noticed that when it comes to diverse literature and speculative literature, it seems like if it is like white main characters and stuff, it can be anything. It could be anything. You could be Harry Potter. You could be, Harriet the Spy. You could be anything you want. But if
Mhm.
you're not like white, you get to be suffering. Your stories have to be somehow centered around like some form of like just racial pain, which I think is just not great. It's just that it seems like the books are just not made that center. It doesn't center people of color. The book has people of color in it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't center them. It's kind of just like this is why racism is wrong, which those books are great, but also those books are for people who still haven't figured that one out yet, and I don't care about those readers because I'm not I guess they're new to books too. But definitely, I'd rather people who do look like me have something entertaining to read and not stuff they already know. Because there's nothing fantastical about like, oh, in a world where a police officer kills a black kid. That's not fantasy. That actually happens. But I'd rather have some black kid having somebody that's not having that to read. That's not for them to read. They don't need the reminder. They should be able to see themselves in space and in the future and in the past and at the bottom of the ocean and wherever they want to be, just like the white kid gets to see themselves everywhere else.
Yeah, Vanessa says you would think racism is wrong would be a no-brainer. Yeah.
I mean, it is for the people who have to deal with it, but the other folks, my books aren't for them. My books are not for the same people who must and should read The Hate You Give.
So in developing your books, you said so you're kind of a pantser then in a lot of ways.
If anything, I'm a bit of a both. I
tend to find that most people are.
Yeah, because honestly, I work on things for a long time. I write down my notes and put it all together. I don't really start to sew my journals to start writing the book until like it's all well and cohesive together. And then that's when, because for me, I do things very like, even though I'm big on technology and skill sets and things that like those, I prefer things being old school. I mean, yes, I have a VR headset and I have a 3D printer, but I also have a fountain pen and stuff. And I actually do bookbinding. I bind my own journals per work, so that it's just all I focus on. But once I have all the notes together of how the story should flow and things of that nature, it's just as so when it's time to write, it's time to write. I don't have to worry about, the plots or things of that nature.
Is the characters that are the things that come to you first, or is it more of a storyline that you put characters?
It's a combination. I'll write, if there's a particular character that comes to mind, I'll just write that down like, oh, that would be interesting. Or if it's a story plot, I'll just write a real super like quick and dirty thing about story plot of like, oh, a person does this and those and the third, where I might change their gender around or change something around, but I just go like, person does this and does that, and I won't give them a name. I might not even give them a gender. I just go, oh, wouldn't it be this idea?
I love that. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the books that you've written and the one that's coming out soon.
Pretty much it's just that the one that's coming out soon and the books that I've written, pretty much there's just 4 at this point in terms of 4 books, and this is, so that would be Null Void, that's on Nightlight, but you also have let me see, In Search of Amika, Kinetics, Dreamer, and The Glass Man. And so pretty much it's just that the works I have, those the vast majority of them, with the exception to Amika, are what I tend to call legacy works, meaning for me, they've been in my head for about 20 years or so, 15 to 20 years or so. And so pretty much it's just that those works, it's like it was easy for them to come out in a way because I had been working on them in my head for such a long time. And the same with The Glass Man. I first got the idea for writing that book when I was 15. And so pretty much it's just that I just come out with what sounds like a great idea. And the characters, they modify the storylines, they modify, because I will just look at my journals from when I was like 15 and like 14 and so, and look at the story ideas I had back then and just simply just modify or combine and go, oh, well, I'll just use this storyline here and this storyline here. And they just become a big book if I combine those 2 elements together and stuff. So that's kind of what happened with Dreamer. And with The Glassman, that originally was a shorter work and that I thought was, oh, I can probably come up with something, and that just became its own novel, which I'm very glad for. And also I wound up connecting the storylines of Dreamer and The Glassman. so that it can just become, a duology that is coming out probably 2026, 2027, called Glass and Dream Duology. The reason why I did that is because I was like, oh, they're both music based. And I was like, oh, one's a book about a rock band. The other's a book that is based in a music store. It just seems smart to put together. That, and also I kept coming up with new ideas. But also while I was working on the hand editing of one of my other upcoming books, the Harley Quinn and stuff, I was listening to Muse and Coheed and Cambria, and I was like, oh, I got really good ideas for like this duology and stuff.
Nice.
And so pretty much I just especially just joke with my friends, like, oh yeah, just blame Muse mostly if they're going, like, you said it was just one book and it keeps getting more and more and more. But definitely, yeah, it's just the duology that comes up behind Dreamer and the Glass Man. But yeah.
All right, everybody, prepare to be jealous because I just loaded these up. These covers are absolutely stunning. This is
what happens when you don't use AI and you pay your artist.
There you go.
This is made by Ed. She does the covers to all my works. I remember looking at her works on Tumblr for so long, and she was a list of like, oh, if people I wanted to work with, if I could ever work with, and I just was like, oh, I want to put your art on my books, and she does. I badger her.
The font on this too is amazing. I did the typesetting nerd, so I love that.
Yeah, I did the typesetting and the font stuff. She does the art. The art is absolutely beautiful. I love working with her.
And then this is the Glassman. Everybody, look at this. God, again.
Amazing. Oh, I see the one for Dreamer. I don't, because I don't. That one is for the Glassman. I'm very glad about the guitar pick. And so, but definitely, yeah, I love her art. And it's just that, she takes my scribbles. And the thing is that what I do is just write little scribbles and I just give them to her. And she just makes my scribbles go from terrible scribbles into actual art. So I'm like, I'm thinking of this and I want to do this. And the one thing I remember telling her, I was like, I want to have a person of color on the cover of all my works. I want the main character and anyone else who is in the book on the cover. And the reason why I did that is because I tried my hardest to get into traditional publishing and that didn't work out. And also one thing I remember being told, they would say, oh, if you put people of color on the book, it doesn't sell. So I got very angry about that because I remember growing up seeing Harry Potter on the cover of his own books. And I don't think they ever told J.K. Rowling that. And saying like, well, white wizards don't sell. They never told her that, George R.R. Martin that, they never told Neil Gaiman this, they never told Stephen King that a scary, they even shove a scary clown on the cover of his books.
Yeah.
That would at least be a better argument of going, well, sir, it's a scary clown. But definitely it's just that pissed me off. So I was like, shove it on the cover of my books. And my covers are usually what gets people to buy them very quickly.
Yeah, they're striking. I mean, they pop right out. Everybody is commenting about it too. That Jesse says Coheed and Cambria, fun inspiration. Wow, gorgeous cover. Wow, gorgeous cover. So that and then Jesse says, I know who Edge is, amazing artist.
She is. She's the only one who I trust for my work. Even though she was like, oh, I might not be able to take on more things. And I was like, I'm willing to pause my works and pause my schedule to make room for your schedule. I have a very small team and stuff. I have my editor, Jill Knott. She is fantastic. I'm very glad I found her from Tumblr. I have my narrator, Kinetics and Dreamer are narrated by the same person. I try to go with the same person each and every time because if you do a good job, I want to use you a lot.
Sure.
And so pretty much Soraya Butler. For the Glassman, I had to get a different narrator because that is male perspective. And I do have the narrator for that, who is Alejandro Antonio Ruiz, who is also the voice of Gecko in Valorant.
Nice.
And I believe he's also in Tokyo Revengers as the English dub. But pretty much I just I make sure that I get what works the best for my works.
Nice. Are you vending at Multiverse?
Yes, I am.
Oh, cool, awesome. So everybody can go get these gorgeous books. I'm sure it's going to be hard to walk by and not stop.
Actually, the books will all be signed in. The Glassman ones are all being signed in with glass pen. Not at the convention because my glass pens are
Nice.
very fragile, but definitely all the signatures are made with glass pen and blood ink. So there you go.
Cool. That's awesome. So Vanessa has a question for you. She wants to know what genre is your favorite to write in and then read in.
My favorite genre to write in and to read in, I think might be speculative. It really just, I'm very all over the board, honestly, because I don't have a favorite sci-fi writer and stuff. Like when it comes to speculative anything, I really just because I didn't see anybody who really looked like me in books, I basically looked in medias because, you know, I liked reading stuff like Harry Potter, but when I wanted to see somebody who was like the black version of Harry Potter, traditional publishing made darn sure that wasn't going to happen. But definitely, I just looked in media. I grew up watching Red Dwarf. I grew up watching Homeboys in Outer Space because those shows reflected me.
Yeah.
But definitely for me, I like to write in fantasy and sci-fi. That's the genre I work in the best with. And apparently I didn't know I wrote horror up until I was getting accepted to horror things and people who would read my works and they were like, oh, this is scary. And I'm going, I had no idea. I didn't know I wrote psychological horror or that the Glassman was psychological horror until I was being told left and right that's what it is. And they was like, no, this is more psychological dark fantasy. And they was like, you seem to write a lot of horror and dark fantasy. And I was like, oh, I did not know, but thank you. But definitely for me, in terms of reading, and I mainly read comics. To be honest, mostly read comics and mangas.
Nice. Are you a big graphic novel fan, or is it more?
It depends, but I really just because I know the most recent graphic novel I have read and I have gotten was basically I've read Moz by Art Spiegelman, but that's because I read it as a teenager and I remember I was like, oh, this is a little bit much for me, but I wanted to read it again. I wanted to like sit and slog through it because as a teenager I did it, but also back then I didn't have access to the both volumes and stuff, so I managed to get it now. I also got a graphic novel about Tiananmen Square Massacre. I think it's called Tiananmen 1989. And I also have the George Takei, When We Were Called the Enemy. That one I haven't read yet, but I heard it was very good. But also it always reminds me of like Fort Minor, which was Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park Side Project, his song Kenji and stuff, which is an amazing song. For me, I'm more so less into the book stuff when it comes to like creatives, I guess into different medias, but that's because there's where there was way more diversity. But definitely, yeah, it's like for me, it was like graphic novels or pretty much like graphic novels, comics, mangas. I really liked Alita, Battle Angel. I liked reading Blame. I like reading Gunsmith Cats and stuff. I just like whatever strikes me.
It sounds like music is a big influence on.
It's a very big influence. It's a very big influence, and especially for me because I just grew with a lot of music, but also I have interacted with the music industry a lot since I was like 15 or so. So that helps a lot. I've talked at length about what is the story behind the Glassman, which is really humorous and odd because it's basically I was like, oh, it first turned out as a banned fanfic before I knew what fanfics actually were, and then I was like, oh, I really like the plot a lot and stuff. I like the darkness, I like the dynamics and stuff, and then I wound up becoming friends with said man because at first I was terrified of them reading it. And as a teenager, I went, what's the likelihood of me ever meeting them? And then I not only met them, I became friends with them. And so the poor lead vocalist of the band, POD, Sonny Sandoval, I show him he's usually the first person who got the chance to see anything of the book. In which it's hilarious because I sit here and I'm like, oh listening to Coheed and Cambria and stuff. So he's probably just sitting here. It's like, I know these people. Like, because I'm like, every time they come out with albums, I just come up with new ideas. I almost feel like he probably sit here and tell Claudio Cody, like, can you just make an album that sucks for a second? Like, I know it's hard for you to do, but I need this to stop. But definitely, it's just that, you know, music's a big role in my life. I really love rock music the most. That's where I'm the most home at.
I'm curious about your pen, your fountain pen. I don't want to say obsession because that's the wrong terminology, but do you write in different genres with different colors?
For me, I basically go towards fountain pens. I always think about like Lupe Fiasco's lyrics in space pen and ink pen, like spray paint and ink pens. Like spray paint and ink pens, I write in every color, I think, and so pretty much that's why I got so many different colors. I write with whatever color matches the vibe of the book. Nice. So for my horror works, I might write in writer's blood unless I am thinking of a particular color or there's like a significance to the color. For example, I actually have Monarca, Cruel Sky, Sidio Cruel, I think it is. And that one is for the Glass and Dreams duology, but that's because that is the tie-in book between the Glass Man and Dreamer, and that is based in Chula Vista, California, and the characters are Chicano and basically of Mexicano background. So I wanted to get a Mexicano ink maker to be the ink for that work. So, but also then it was hard for me to get the ink, so I got that. So I used that ink, but also I wound up using Dominant Industry, which is a Korean ink brand, in which I was like, it works. I do have Korean American characters, but it's just, I was like, the colors were similar that I used Periwinkle Blue and Monarca, but pretty much it varies really what ink I will use because I have so many different types. But I just go through my ink journal and stuff, hence why I do the swatching, and just simply go, oh, I'll use this, or oh, I'll use that. I'm writing a sci-fi, so I might use a mega sheener, or I'm writing something that's fantasy and in the forest, so I'm gonna look for something that's ocean-like, or
now, I don't know how many
fantasy-like.
I don't know how many words you've sat down and written before, but I'm curious if the color you pick runs out, do you have backup for that same
there
color,
is almost no way for me to run out of color because I have like 50 mil, 25 mil. I actually have it down to like a science of how much I use. Like I know that 60,000 words is about like 10 milliliters of ink. And the average bottle I have is about like somewhere like 30 milliliters. So there's no way for me to run out. And if so, I have almost like 20 bottles of ink. So I just pick up another color and just go straight to it. So I literally will never run out of ink. That's what I like the most about fountain pens.
That's awesome. All right. So where can people check out your work and what you're doing right now before they get to Multiverse? And then, of course, we want everybody who's watching this, who's going to Multiverse, to go and stop by your table and buy your books. But where can people come and check out what you're doing right now?
They can check out multimindpublishing.com. That's basically where everything is. I blog the most. I'm also on Spoutable under Multiminds with a Z, but also it's the multimindpublishing.com is the most central spot to know exactly what I'm up to and things of that nature. Okay. And also, of course, there is my Instagram. All right. Well, which is also Multimind Publishing. But yeah, everybody, the center of the wheel is multimindpublishing.com, where they can also just read excerpts of the work or hear excerpts of the audiobooks should the audiobooks exist. And pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much, I think that's, yeah, right. I made sure that multimindpublishing.com is a one-stop shop.
Nice. Jesse says you should bring pictures of your pen and ink collections to Multiverse. I would love to see that.
Most likely won't because I'm so protective of both. But actually, the pen I do usually have as my day-to-day pen is a fountain pen, is a ballpoint fountain pen. So it looks like a ballpoint pen, but it uses fountain pen ink and stuff. But that one is, you can't tell it's a fountain pen until you look very, very hard at it. And plus, I Yeah, that one's just filled with plain black ink. I think that one is just simply Edelstein, just plain that black ink.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to come and talk to me. Really enjoyed this conversation. I look forward to meeting you in October, and hope you get on some panels and get to talk about everything that you love, and enjoy the experience of Multiverse. You'll have to come back next time and tell us how it went for you. And yeah, thank you so much. And I'm definitely going to stop by your table and buy some books, because I can't get away from those covers. They're amazing. So thank you for this opportunity to talk to you tonight.
No problem. And thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll be right back, everybody, with Ellie Rain. And in the meantime, enjoy this little ad for our friends at Chaotic Good Fitness. Regardless what's out there for you, your body is your temple. Isn't it time for you to take control of your own fitness and well-being? To tell your story. In Dungeons & Dragons, Chaotic Good is a character alignment that reflects one whose heart is pure, but who does not take the law at face value. They question authority and forge their own path based on their own value system and morals. They value freedom and individuality over social norms and rules. CG Fitness views fitness and health in the same way. We are client-centered, body-positive. We focus on the individual client's needs and goals without trying to fit them into the standards set up by the fitness industry. Each client has a unique background, goal, and body that deserves to be valued and considered when working together. We don't expect all of our clients to look, act, and feel or need the same thing. Some clients want weight loss programs. Some join us for the pain management and reduction. Others have worked with us for pre-surgical body change needs. No matter why you come to us, we will find a way to help you level up. There is no one-size-fits-all magical answer to fitness and health goals, and there is no one-size-fits-all body shape. There's no quick, easy route to take. Making health improvements is hard work, but we are here to guide you through the journey. CG Fitness is about making improvements at your pace for you. So now let's pull out your character sheet and roll for that initiative. So if you're interested in how Kira and her team can help you, you can go to chaoticgoodfitness.com/services. So choose your path to better health and good fitness and tell your own story at chaoticgoodfitness.com. And we're back. And I have the awesome, wonderful Ellie Rain with me. It's nice to have you. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I will afford you the same opportunity that I afforded our friend Multimind. And if you'd like to expand a little bit about from the little intro that I gave you, at the top of the program about you, I'm happy to let you have the floor for that moment.
Sure. I am Ellie Rain. I am an award-winning Gothic fantasy author. My books are the Necrosim Chronicles. This is book 1 because it's very far away, but yeah. I also saw that it's epic. It's epic Gothic fantasy. So nice. Yeah, I also saw that you were very quick because I just uploaded that new updated logo.
Oh, nice.
Like this week.
Well, I got it from your website, so
yeah, I just updated it, and I was surprised to see it. I'm like, whoa, didn't I just upload that?
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty good about those things, I think, sometimes. But I know for a fact that this is not your first multiverse, because I saw some pictures of you at last year's multiverse, and
yeah,
I think I even probably passed by your table a couple times last year, and I know that we saw each other at Con Carolinas because you were next to my good friend, Mr. Bob Magoo.
That's right. When I was actually at the table.
Yeah, right. Yeah, these things could do that to you, right? I mean, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that's an interesting aspect of what we do and how we do it, especially in Multiverse, because Multiverse is so. I mean, Con Carolina's too. I was very impressed with how compact it is there as well, and partially that's the design of the hotel, but also the design of the people who curate those these events. You're so close on the you were out on the writers. Were you on the writers block last year, like in the like on the outside of the classrooms and stuff like that, or were you inside the?
I think I had a table 2 years ago, not last year specifically, but the year before that. Yes, I would. That's at that little alcove. That's pretty much where I was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's easy access to anything that you might have been on a panel for, or jumped on.
Yeah.
You know, is that kind of a helpful thing for you, or do you prefer to be at your table a little bit more?
Gonna be completely honest, I hate being at my table. First off, like don't get me wrong, like it's great meeting everybody, but like giving the same pitch over and over makes me really nervous, because like I have lifelong like social anxiety stuff. I'm finally getting over like some agoraphobia. But it's panel settings are different because it's not like necessarily one-on-ones usually. So when you're like face to face with a customer, there's this mode that in your head everyone tells you, no, you have to like be a salesperson now. You need to think like a salesperson, and all I can think about is, but I just kind of want to talk, and so I feel like I'm not doing it right. So I feel like I'm a terrible salesperson because I just want to talk about other things that are not my stuff.
I would contend that's a better way to approach it. Actually, I think we don't. I don't think we put enough emphasis on authenticity with a sales pitch. You know, I think in doing that, there's a comfort level for you, and then the person talking to you feels that comfort a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said for that. Everybody's saying hello to you, Vanessa and Jesse.
Hey guys.
And Vanessa agrees selling is stressful.
Oh yes.
So you're a big. Do you like doing the panels? Then you're a big fan.
Oh my gosh. Panels? I love panels. It's mostly because I really love philosophy, but I also really love being pedantic about stories.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like being pedantic about philosophy in stories, and you know, like what's the likelihood that this would actually happen, or what could the aftermath be in this topic that we're talking about. It's a lot of fun. And we can go on tangents, and it's totally fine. Like, if we go on tangents, that's a good thing. So no one will be mad at me about it.
Do you appreciate the way that Multiverse panels go? Because they're a lot more interactive. It's almost it's almost like a conversation you're having with your friends, right? In terms of instead of feeling like you're at a lecture table being asked a stock question and then answering it, right?
Yeah, so one thing I have noticed with Multiverse is the panels are the like biggest draw-in for this con, and like I have a lot of trouble trying to figure out which panel I want to be in and which panel I want to attend. Because there's like so much stuff that I'm so interested in, but I am not qualified to talk about.
Oh, I feel this deeply.
But like, I want to be there to ask the question, so I had to really go over that. You called it thorough, Vanessa? Thorough list. I had to really stop and think about each of these things that I wasn't qualified to speak on, but I really wanted to ask questions about it. But I had to be like, no, that doesn't mean you should ask to be a moderator just because you want to ask questions. So I had to pick and choose very carefully.
Actually, that's exactly how I looked at it. To be honest with you, when I looked at it, between being panelist and moderator, or picking both, I looked at that and I said, which one would I be more would I be more interested in knowing about this stuff, or would I be more interested about listening and talking about this stuff? And that's kind of because with moderating, it's more. There's more of a, you're trying to keep a pace, you're trying to keep a conversation going. There's a lot to it. It's a skill set as much as being a panelist.
It's a lot of time management. With ADHD,
exactly.
That's hard as. I don't know if we can curse in here, but it is hard as fricative.
You can curse here. It's totally fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
and yeah, see, Vanessa agrees with me. That's totally why you should ask to be a moderator. And that's how I approached it. I thought, genuine curiosity about the subject matter is one great trait for a moderator. Yeah, I think so. I think you're going. One of the things about, I think, for being a moderator in that capacity is that you're probably going to ask questions that probably wouldn't have been asked before because you have a curiosity for it, right? And so,
and I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I do think that's another reason why Multiverse kind of stands out, with the panels specifically, because, you go to a lot of conventions and there are a lot of the same kind of panels that go every year, One comes in at a different part of their journey. Like some people are just beginning, some people are thinking about starting, some people are well on their way over there and beyond. So obviously you're going to get the repeat stuff, but there also becomes the issue where, okay, that's great, but what happens whenever the people who had been starting out now graduate through that, and they still want like a refresher, but also something new? So, I feel like it's a balancing act, and I really like the questions that tend to pop up at Multiverse, because it's not only questions or topics that we don't usually see at conventions, but like the people speaking on them have really great insight and perspective on it, because they can talk about it from their perspective.
Jesse says, I think also that another benefit of being on panels is a great way to sell books, because people get a sense of who you are through that conversation.
Oh, so. For sure. That's kind of the only reason why I've sold any books at conventions, is because I just love panels, and it happened apparently to be the best way to sell things. That I found out is that considered the hard way or the easy way? I'm not sure. Yeah, because every time I would go back,
you look at it.
Yeah, because I would be sitting at a table if I was just a vendor at some places, and I would get maybe 3, 4, 5 people, in one day, and sometimes a weekend, and then on the ones that I do panels at. It's usually pretty dead until I start doing panels, and then I go back really quick to grab my phone or something really fast before I rush off to go buy something, which I probably shouldn't be doing, but they're shiny things and shiny. So, but usually I end up having that weird, I don't know if I should call it weird. I should call it, happy accidents. Okay. Of me going to get some cash to go get a shiny, but then while I'm back there rummaging around, I suddenly have people coming up and wanting to buy things from the panels, and great, I forgot what I was doing. Where am I? So yeah, it takes me a minute.
Do you have a favorite panel that you've done at Multiverse? Is there one that you really enjoyed that you're hoping to repeat this year?
It wasn't one that I did. It wasn't one that I spoke on, but it was one that I attended, and it was the sensitivity reader one, because I have I still have questions about it, mostly because I never know what is a good question to ask and what is a question that you get all the time that never serves an actual purpose. And it's really great. And Toby was on there last year, and oh my gosh, they were fabulous.
It was that was such an eye-opening panel for me. I've told this story before, but that panel really was a difference maker for me in a lot of ways. I really got so much out of that panel. It was an amazing panel.
Mm-hmm.
Courtesy of The Right Track and Miss Vanessa Junta. Thank you very much for putting that together. So you want to be on that panel this year then? Where do you want to go?
Well, okay. I mean, I'm not really a professional sensitivity reader, but I'm autistic. I have ADHD. I've got Erland syndrome. If anybody even wants to know what the heck that is, so like I could give a perspective on that if they wanted to, but I'm not a professional, so I'm not going to ask for money over it. So I don't think I could really speak on it per se as a professional, but just as someone who has this thing, I could totally speak on it.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting, because I do think that there is that aspect of that area that was covered a little bit, but not too tremendously. It was more about how to approach somebody to pay for their services and do those kind of things, and a lot of respect for that. But
yeah, and that's something I don't really want to do, mostly because it saps all the joy out of reading things that I want to read.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, is there a particular fandom that you where do you find yourself mostly at Multiverse during the weekend? What area are you mostly? Are you in the right track most of the time? Are you sci-fi, fantasy? Where do you find yourself usually hanging out the most?
Fantasy, always fantasy. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love sci-fi and all, but like fantasy's where it's at for me.
It's gonna lead into what we're gonna talk about next, which is you. And It is gorgeous cover night here at Go Indie Now Spotlight on Multiverse, because these, again, here's Willow of Ashes. This is just spectacular.
Thank you.
What I love about covers like this, right? There's a simple design to them, but there's so much going on inside. Like I see like so many things I'm so curious about just looking at this cover. And that's an impressive cover.
That means I did my job. Thank you.
Yes, it is. Yeah, sure. Yeah, and here's a picture of you with all the covers.
Yay.
Again, and something about fantasy that I've always been fascinated by and interested in is the idea of the branding aspect of a series, right? And keeping, somewhat of a connection from cover to cover to book. Was that something you were really keen on right away? Was that something you were really hoping to capture, or was that something that was kind of found with how you did the first cover, and then probably rehired the same cover artist, I would assume, for the next one?
Well, actually, the ones with the people on it. Hang on. Yeah. There we go. So the ones with the people on it right here. This was done by Fiona Jade. It's absolutely fabulous. But the problem was, what we found out was, as gorgeous as they are, and I freaking love them, apparently a lot of people thought it was romance.
Oh, even though she's holding a sickle?
Well, apparently because there's a girl on the cover, and it's written by a woman, so it must be romance. And like, there's nothing wrong with romance, so it's weird that people think that's a bad thing anyway. But people are into certain.
That's a terrible.
People are into certain things, so right. But people are into certain things, so if the cover gives them an impression, then it's just people do judge books by the cover. So when we figured that out, we were like, okay, let's just not have people on the covers so much. Let's just go with the runes, and these are my covers that I did. Because these are my designs. These images are what I did for my oracle cards, basically. So I already had the images ready to go for my oracle cards. So I just put them on a cover. I've been doing Photoshop since I was 12, so I just made them glow because I like it glowing. It's magical, it's cool, it's mysterious, and I like it. And they just suddenly started selling like way faster.
Interesting.
So yeah, so I have an art background before I even started writing. So I guess for the theming aspect of it, yeah, I'm super OCD about that. So
do you have a regular routine in writing, or do you schedule yourself? How do you pace yourself out with these books? Because what do you have, 6 there in that series right now?
Well, I've got 5 in the main series, and the series
Uh-huh.
is done. So this is the finale here. But I have 2 prequels for that series. So technically 7 right now, but I aspire, I guess, Discworld level. I love the world. I just want to write stories in the world.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing. As for routine, I used to have a routine, but it wasn't so much a routine as it was like an obsession.
Yeah.
You get that hyper focus, and you just keep going. You forget to eat, and you forget to sleep, and you just suddenly realize, ow, my back hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very familiar feeling for a lot of us out there.
And then I had my daughter. Nope, can't do that anymore. I need sleep. It's the only way I can actually get up and walk around, if I can do that.
So she was a blessing in that respect.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, she is definitely, she gets her morning person attitude from my husband. Who's the morning person between us. And I'm the zombie. Yeah.
Awesome.
But
do you have a favorite time to write? Do you write? Is it just when? Do you like quiet? Are you a music person? Is there an atmosphere you create for yourself?
Yeah, I need music. Always need music.
Nice.
But it really depends on the scene at the time, I guess, like the attitude behind it. So for fight scenes, I love that she mentioned Coheed and Cambria, because that's kind of the reason I got a ukulele, was so I could learn Welcome Home.
Nice.
So awesome. Yeah, that's how that started. So yeah, so fight scenes, it's always metal. Yeah. Usually new metal though.
Okay, so a lot of screaming. a lot of vocal roars, and yeah.
Yeah, it's my karaoke go-to.
Nice. Wow. That, are you gonna do that in October?
Oh, I always do if they have it. I specifically, when they ever said, "Is there a time that you're not available?" I specifically wrote down this year. I was like, I'm not risking it. Just like, I am not available anytime there's karaoke.
That's awesome. I'm excited for that. Then that would be awesome. The karaoke at Multiverse is one of my favorite things. I've experienced it once, and I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I didn't get up then. There was just too much going on, and the person running it was kind of a little bit chaotic. But I have a feeling this year is going to be a lot different, and maybe I'll get an opportunity. I'm not. I will be nails on a chalkboard, just warning everybody who comes to see me sing. But that's just the way it is.
Fine. We're all going to be drunk anyway.
Very true. But yeah, I mean, I was singing in the audience, so it was fine. But yeah, but there's a lot of comments here for you. That Vanessa says, "I always love Allie's colors; they're so evocative." And Jesse says, "I've always loved these covers. I put them at the end of my bookshelf so I can see them when I walk by. Look at that. That's fantastic." Anita says, "Fantastic cover." And which, by the way, Miss Stewart, she makes her own covers too. So you endeared yourself to Anita there, because she's a big designer as well.
It's super fun.
I just don't have the linear patience for it. I love video editing so much. It's very tedious and very, detailed, much like that kind of draw would be. But for me, I just with my hands, I could never have been a surgeon, and it just wouldn't work. And creating, I mean, I guess I could move a mouse around, but it's just like those kind of things for me. They would come out, they would be something in my brain, but it definitely would not be on the page beyond what people see.
That's pretty funny. I guess we're complete opposites because video editing is my mortal enemy.
It used to be mine too. I used to when I was making films and not doing the editing but being present. I was so bored by it. But since doing it, it's been a different thing for me. So yeah,
yeah. I don't remember the last time I made a TikTok. It's been months. But it's because I hate editing so much, even on my phone.
Those are tedious and trying for sure. I have a hard time with that part of it too. Yeah, anything that has to do with my phone too, you can forget about it. But I wish I had the skill with pic editing. Yeah, see, me too. I could do basic stuff, but nothing. But not something that looks super professional like y'all's. So.
Ooh, maybe we should have a panel for like teaching the tips and tricks with like, just having the screen on there and teaching like Photoshop little tips and tricks or something.
I think in talking to Mason earlier in this series, I talked to Mason, and he was talking about there is going to be some interactive artist panels and things of that nature where he's going to bring artists in and you can actually work on stuff together and putting things together. So I think he does have that in his mind. I don't know if it's book cover specifically, but artistry for sure. And maybe, and a lot of, he was talking specifically, he mentioned graphic artists. So, but Vanessa says that's a good idea if it's not already there. So that's, yeah.
Well, I don't think the book cover.
Mason, if you're watching, I'm sure you'll double back and see this at some point. So Mason, if you're watching, that might be a good idea, right? So
do it.
I'm definitely my big goal this year, and I've told this to a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to hold me accountable, I'm sure. But my big goal is to get to the crafts room this year and just create something. So because I say that every year, it's like the thing I want to do the most, and I never get to it. By the weekend, by the time it's Sunday, I go, oh crap, I didn't do the crafts thing. So now you're on the hook too. You got to help me get there. So
I am not responsible for forgetting your forgetted stuff.
Fine. All right. Fine. I'll just get there myself.
I literally have reminders to remember the thing I forgot. Mm-hmm. Except, it's like I remember. I don't remember what it was. It'll be fun to hang out with you at karaoke for sure. I'm definitely going to do that. So yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah. So you're gonna be vending this year. Are you vending this year, or are you just paneling?
I'll be honest, I don't remember. I've been getting ready for. I've been simultaneously getting ready for Dragon Con and Multiverse and Conjuration. I don't know what's what anymore.
Yeah. That's a circus all unto itself, Dragon Con.
Yeah.
But Jesse's confirming for you. You do have a table. So.
I do. Wow.
So everybody's going to Multiverse this year. You got to stop by. Make sure you get some Ellie Rain epic fantasy. That looks like it's a fantastic book. The covers are amazing, and I really appreciate the opportunity to sit here and talk to you about everything tonight, and wax poetic, and hopefully, I know we'll see each other in October, so it'll be a lot of fun. And tell everybody if they aren't going to Multiverse, or if they want to get a head start and read something of yours, where can they find your gorgeous, gorgeous covers?
Sure. You can go anywhere books are sold. You can go to Amazon, or you can go directly to my website. If I can get it there. Yeah, how's that? Necroscene.com.
Yeah, I'll put it for everybody. It's already in the description there, but That's awesome.
Either way, pretties.
Vanessa says, Ellie, you should give Joe your registration link to put into the show notes. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that thing. Okay. I'll dig it up again. I posted it at least one time somewhere.
All right.
Okay.
We'll make sure that happens for sure. All right. Yeah, even if it's a week later, I'll get it in there for you. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just email it to me. We'll figure it out. Or however you want to get it to me, it's fine. We'll figure it out. All right, everybody. Well, before we say goodnight, and before I say one more time, as I do each and every time I do this show, I don't know why you wouldn't come to Multiverse, but if you needed another reason just to revisit one of my favorite moments at Multiverse, I'm going to play this thing probably every week now because I just love this. But this is a great, great thing that Multiverse does that I think is unique, very unique to Multiverse. And that's basically because of Gigi Ying and her staff and putting this together. But the meet room, the meet track, the meetup area is a very, very awesome thing at Multiverse. And here's a little bit about it and a little bit of my experience being in said meet room from last year.
And now, another reason why, among many, you should be attending Multiverse. Reason 1006, the Meet Track, hosted by Gigi Ying. This is a neat little space at Multiverse in which like-minded folk gather to talk shop, to intellectualize, to get together and say hello, and sometimes even to do this.
Game of Thrones.
This is going to go on continual after dark.
What are you waiting for? Join us today. Go to multiversecon.org and register to become a member of the Multiverse.
Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't sell it, I don't know what possibly could. That is just an amazing, amazing moment that I was present for. I was in that room at that moment, and that was just amazing. It was a lot of fun. And yes, GG rules. And Vanessa says that video never fails to crack me up. Me neither, Vanessa. That's why I really want to play it like every week. I laugh every single time. Unicorn jest for the win. Yes, absolutely. Multiverse for the win. That's a win for Multiverse, I think. And it's an amazing, amazing event. This October 20th through the 22nd. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. You still got time. Actually, it's a perfect time to get a plane ticket right now. Go get a plane ticket right now. I mean, what are you waiting for? Get on it and get over to us and hang out with us. Spend the weekend with all these wonderful people that you're meeting throughout this series. And we've got more to come. This is the beginning of the second half of our Spotlight series. I've got, for the next 7 weeks, I've got another great crew of people that you're going to meet that will be attendees at Multiverse, guests, track directors, and we have an incredible season finale for you. I cannot wait. We'll talk more about that later on down the road, but for now, thank you, everybody. Remember that it's always time to go indie now, and it's time to get your Multiverse tickets. Go do it. All right. We'll see you next week, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Go Indie Now. Thanks, everybody. Let's get